I lost my first baby early in pregnancy. I was really excited about being pregnant, and because I have endometriosis, I didn't know whether I'd be able to have babies. As it turns out, I was very good at getting pregnant because I ended up having, I've had 7 pregnancies and one has survived. And so when I first got pregnant, I was really thrilled and amazed, and I started keeping a diary about that baby and all of my hopes for the baby. I imagined the baby as a girl. I still think of that baby as a girl, so I think it was. I remember I woke up in the morning. It was a normal morning. I was doing immersion Māori at the time, and I had this funny sense in the back of my head, for no particular reason, that maybe I should take some pads with me. Being pregnant, I didn't think that I would need to have pads for my period, but for whatever reason I popped those in my bag and I went off to school. And then I was so flippin' irritating. A classmate told me that she had just discovered she was pregnant, and I said, I'm pregnant too. And it was this really awesome thing that we were able to share. Literally, as soon as I had that conversation, I went to the toilet and bam, that was the end of that, the beginning of the end of that pregnancy. And I remember I went back out into the classroom completely dazed, like, I think I'm losing this baby. I should go to the doctor, shouldn't I? Should I? I don't know, just didn't know what to do. And then I texted my husband and I said, darling, you better come, lots of blood. And so he came and picked me up, and I made up some lie about needing to keep an appointment that I'd forgotten about. And we went off to the doctor, and the doctor was, you know, this isn't necessarily the end of this pregnancy. We'll just have to see how the next few days roll out. And so over the next few days I did lose that baby. And it was really painful. It was a very, very painful experience to lose that child. So we lost the first pregnancy, and then the second pregnancy was te rerehua. So that was, you know, is and has been the most amazing thing. And having her cushioned the following 4 losses. So, and 3 of them happened pretty much bang, bang, bang. And so I got sort of into a mind frame of trying not to connect to those pregnancies, and focusing on the baby that I did have. The 5th pregnancy was different. Because I didn't know that I was pregnant at the time. I thought that my days of getting pregnant were kind of probably over. I wasn't 100% sure, but I was thinking I'm probably at the end of this, being able to have babies. And so for about a month I thought that I was really very depressed, which I'd never been before, and I was like, whoa, this is awful. And then one day I just had this sense, okay, maybe just take a pregnancy test. And I still smile when I think about that test, because it came up immediately, 100% you're pregnant, dark, you know, and no doubt whatsoever. And the joy that I felt in that moment, that's what I still connect with that child, is just that utter joy. And it was a boy. We called him Rakatau. And we lost him in the first trimester also. But he was amazing. He brought so many gifts with him. So one of the lovely things in Māoridom, I think in particular, not in Māoridom, but if you're an Indigenous person, I think often this is the case, that we're more connected with the things we don't understand. We're happy to live alongside, you know, the other side, and not necessarily understand exactly why that is. To be connected to our tupuna. And so for me, I get a lot out of my dreams. And so I had a really vivid dream of meeting my babies and knowing that that was because of Rakatau, and this special sense of knowing that when this life ends for me, I'll be with those babies again, and that brings me real comfort. The thing I have discovered with each and every pregnancy that I've had is that the second you discover you're pregnant, the moment you see that positive sign, you change your world to accommodate that baby. Whether you want the baby or not, you make immediate decisions, you know, around how I'm gonna grow with this baby or not. So you make life-changing decisions around this child. The second you discover it, your world changes. So it matters. It really matters when you lose it. I lost a pregnancy while I was reading the news. So, and I remember that the cameras were all playing up that night, and I was like, I can't frickin' believe this camera's gone down. Now that one's gone down. I'm losing my baby. I've got one camera left. I've got to get to the end of this bulletin and then deal with this. I remember that so clearly because I remember I couldn't believe that the cameras were it's rare for one camera to go down, but for two to go out. I'm like, what was that baby playing at? My workplace never knew about any of the pregnancies except for te rerehua, and I didn't tell anyone about te rerehua until I was at work, until I was 20 weeks pregnant, at which point I thought, if I lose this baby, I'll have something to show for it. God, that's sad, isn't it? Yeah. I won't just be a hysterical woman, you know, who should never have taken it that seriously to begin with. So I didn't tell anyone about her until I was 20 weeks on. There's a sense that you are not allowed to talk about your pain and your grief and your loss. And, you know, a sense that if you experience all those things, you are being a bit dramatic, that you need to get over it. It was only, you know, in the first 12 weeks, you know, get over it. It's not really a pregnancy until it's after that 12 weeks. I think this reluctance to really discuss miscarriage is tied up with our reluctance to discuss women's health issues generally, to talk about things that we consider taboo, which are actually sacred. They're not taboo. And there is a difference. And that's to do with things around menstruation, to do with motherhood, to do with miscarriage, to do with menopause. We don't talk about those things openly. But why? They are the stuff of life. They're the reason that we are on this planet. All of those things are why we are able to be here. So why should they be taboo? You know, why can't we talk about them as sacred things but not taboo things, and celebrate what makes women women? There are so many reasons why you could lose a pregnancy, and so often there's no reason that can be identified for it. So for a woman to feel shame or guilt or to be made to feel that way is unacceptable. And instead, if we can, we should celebrate the life that was there, and you know, that continues in another way, and the lessons that came from it, and the gifts that come from it, and to honour the grief that comes from it. The dreams that I had afterwards, those gifts of dreams that I got, showed me that that I did nothing wrong, and in fact, every one of those babies was a beautiful life and was my baby. They were all my babies. So lucky that I had all those babies. Yeah, so I didn't do anything wrong. And I think it's so sad if that's what women carry, a sense of shame or worry that they did something wrong, especially when they know that they didn't, you know. Celebrate your babies.